3 seconds. That's all it took. 3 seconds. What can you do in 3 seconds? You could maybe tie a shoelace if you're some sort of wizard. You might get a car from 0 to 60 if you've got something with a frankly silly engine. You could take a sip of tea. Or, if you happen to be a Swedish pilot in a Saab Gripen, you can, redefine what's possible in aerial combat and leave the entire world utterly gobsmacked. It was a moment so quick, so violently elegant, that most people who saw it weren't even sure what they'd seen. All they knew was that 1 second, a fighter jet was there, and 3 seconds later, it was somewhere else entirely, having seemingly bent the laws of physics over its knee. This wasn't some pre-planned, perfectly choreographed air show display designed to wow the crowds with colorful smoke. Oh no, this was different. This was real. It happened during a joint training exercise. Before we get to the heart-stopping action, you need to meet our hero, the Saab JS-39 Gripen. Now, if fighter jets were cars, you'd have your American muscle cars. Big, loud, thirsty things like the F-15. You'd have your sleek, exotic supercars, like the Eurofighter Typhoon. The Gripen though, the Gripen is something else. Think of it as a Lotus Exige of the skies. It's not the biggest, nor does it have the most enormous engine. But it's incredibly light, unbelievably agile, and designed by people who are absolutely obsessed with efficiency and clever engineering. It's the smart one in the room. Born in Sweden, the Gripen had a unique set of design requirements from the very beginning. It had to be able to take off from short runways, damaged runways, or even stretches of an ordinary motorway. It had to be easy to maintain by a small crew of conscripts, not a massive team of highly paid specialists, and most importantly, it had to be affordable to buy. The scene was a massive international training exercise, a simulated war game known as Red Flag over the vast Nevada desert. This is where the world's best air forces come to play. Top Gun school, but for real, with the latest kit. The air is thick with radio chatter, the sky crisscrossed with contrails of jets pushing performance. In one corner, the Blue Force, a NATO coalition. F-22 Raptors, F-35S, Eurofighter Typhoons. Their mission, defend the airspace. In the other corner, the Red Force aggressors. A mix of aircraft, a squadron of Swedish Saab Gripens, oddly out of place. Their job? Punch through the defensive screen and hit high-value ground targets. On paper, a mismatch. Blue Force jets, larger, more powerful. Blue Force jets, cutting-edge stealth, hard to see on radar. Gripens, Davids among Goliaths, expected to be swatted aside. The engagement began like many others. A lone Gripen, call sign Viking 1, detected by 2 Blue Force fighters. 2 heavier, twin-engine top-tier air superiority jets. The chase was on. The Blue Force moved to box the Gripen in. The lead Blue Force fighter was now locked on. He was in the pipe, just a few hundred meters behind the Gripen. He had a perfect firing solution. On his screen, the tone for a missile lock would have been screaming in his ears. Victory was seconds away. Viking 1, the Gripen, was flying straight and level. The blue pilot allowed himself a brief, triumphant smile. He squeezed the trigger on his control stick, simulating the launch of a heat-seeking missile. In a real conflict, the Gripen would have been a fireball, but this wasn't real. And the Gripen wasn't done. What happened next was utterly baffling. It didn't bank left, it didn't bank right, it didn't dive, it didn't climb. The nose of the jet violently pitched up almost to 90 degrees. The aircraft continued to travel forward along its original path. It was as if the jet had slammed on a set of invisible air brakes. The effect was instantaneous and shocking. The pursuing Blue Force fighter, at over 600 miles per hour, suddenly had nowhere to go. The gap between the two jets vanished in the blink of an eye. The blue pilot, caught completely by surprise, fired the throttles and pulled up to avoid collision. He shot past the nearly stationary Gripen, now directly in front of the smaller jet. The situation reversed. The hunter had become the hunted. The Gripen's nose snapped back down. Its engine roared back to life. It was now perfectly positioned on the tail of the very same fighter that had been about to kill it. So, what was this magical, physics-defying move? In the aviation world, it's a type of maneuver known as a post-stall maneuver or PSM. The specific one the Gripen pilot pulled off is often called Pugachev's Cobra, but with a unique, rapid twist. Normally a stall is the last thing a pilot wants. It's when the wings stop generating lift and the plane, well, falls out of the sky. It's bad. But some modern fighters, like the Gripen, are designed to be controllable even after they've stalled. They can use the thrust from their engine to point the nose in a direction different from where the plane is actually going. Let's break it down using a car analogy. Imagine you're driving very fast and someone is tailgating you right on your bumper. Now imagine you could somehow keep your car moving forward but instantly disconnect the wheels from the steering. You could then spin the entire body of the car around to face backwards, all while you're still sliding forward. The tailgater would shoot right past you, and suddenly you'd be behind them, facing the right way. This is essentially what the Gripen did. That 3-second miracle wasn't a fluke, it was the result of a very specific design philosophy. It makes the Gripen a unique beast in the sky. It all starts with the Delta Canard configuration. The big triangular main wing, the Delta. Those two smaller forewings near the cockpit, the Canards. They aren't just for show, they are the key to the Gripen's incredible agility. They work with the main wing to give the pilot insane control, especially at low speeds or high angles of attack, exactly where that stunning maneuver took place. Then there's the brain of the aircraft, the fly-by-wire system. Older jets used cables and hydraulics to link stick to control surfaces. In the Gripen, it's all electronic. When the pilot moves the stick, they're sending a request to an onboard computer. That computer interprets the request and moves control surfaces for max efficiency. It prevents structural damage. It enables post-stall maneuvers without losing control. Another key ingredient is the engine, a single GE F404 built in Sweden as the RM12. Rivals often have two engines, the Swedes chose one for a reason. The immediate reaction in the Nevada desert was stunned silence, followed by an explosion of frantic chatter. The exercise controllers had to watch the tapes back several times to fully comprehend what had happened. This wasn't supposed to be possible. The pilots of the Blue Force fighters, seasoned veterans with thousands of hours, were debriefed. Their reports were a mixture of disbelief, frustration, and a healthy dose of newfound respect. They described the Gripen as disappearing from in front of them and reappearing on their tail in an instant. There was simply no counter to it. News of the 3-second turn spread like wildfire. At first it was just whispers on online forums, rumors passed between pilots. People were skeptical. It sounded too much like a scene from a movie. But then, snippets of tactical data began to leak out. Anonymized pilot accounts began to leak and the story was confirmed. A single-engine budget fighter had not just held its own, but it had schooled one of them in a close-range dogfight using a move that nobody saw coming. This incredible 3-second event was far more than just a flashy airshow stunt. It was a powerful demonstration of the core philosophy behind the Gripen program. In an era where fighter jet programs often suffer from massive cost overruns and delays, the Gripen stands as a testament to Swedish pragmatism. It's what they call lagom. Not too little, not too much, just the right amount. The Gripen isn't loaded with every single piece of technology imaginable. Instead, it's equipped with exactly what it needs to do its job effectively, and nothing more. This keeps the cost down and the reliability up. The maneuver was a perfect example of asymmetric warfare. The Gripen pilot knew they couldn't win a straight-line race against the more powerful twin-engine jets. They couldn't outclimb them in a brute force contest. So, they didn't play their game. They played their own. They leveraged the Gripen's unique strengths: low-speed handling, high angle of attack capability. Today, on September 11, 2025, the story of the Gripen's 3-second maneuver is still a hot topic in pilot ready rooms and defense ministries around the globe. It has become a modern legend, a case study in tactical brilliance that will be taught to fighter pilots for generations to come. It's the kind of story that gets better with every telling, but the core truth of it remains. A smaller, smarter fighter used its unique capabilities to achieve the impossible. It cemented the Gripen's reputation not just as a capable fighter, but as a giant killer. The impact of that event is still being felt. Countries looking to modernize their air forces are taking a much closer look at the Gripen. They see a jet that offers a huge amount of performance without the crippling price tag of its competitors. The 3-second turn wasn't an ending. It was a powerful opening statement for the Gripen's future. Absolutely brilliant.